Welcome to the Bite-Sized Brilliance Podcast. I'm your host, April Darley, and today I want to touch on your natural wiring, your blueprint, or your childhood archetypes. So let's dive in. Denise Duffield Thomas is, at the time of this recording, opening up her Sacred Money Archetypes course. And I'm a member of that community and absolutely love it. And this is not a plug for her. I am a member, but not an affiliate. So it's not a cash grab, but I do like to recommend things that help me to my listeners, my community, because if it helps me, it's going to help someone else. And in that Sacred Money Archetypes course, I've been a member for about 2 years now, and there is a personality quiz that you can take to try to determine your archetypes. So when I took this quiz, I came out as romantic, alchemist, and celebrity. So romantic and alchemist were not a surprise to me because I'm a lover of all things personality profile. And the romantic, you can see it in my branding. I love florals and feminine things. And I'm a Taurus, so I love comfort and ease. The alchemist, also not a surprise. I am into the supernaturals and the mystery and transformation and idea production. But the celebrity was a surprise. So it wasn't until I did a really deep dive on that, because if you know me personally, or if you've been in my world for a while, I don't come off like an influencer or a celebrity. And I would tell you that is so far away from me. It's not even in the same orbit. But I determined, if I really thought back in my whole past, in my childhood, my timeline, I think that at that time, celebrity was probably my number one archetype. And it was the one that most was shamed because, let me tell you, I'm a Gen X. I grew up in this, born in the 70s, grew up in the 80s, and I wanted all of the 80s things. I wanted to ride my bike to an arcade and eat pizza with my friends. I wanted those acid wash Jordache jeans so bad. I wanted to go see Cyndi Lauper in concert, but none of those things were possible for me because my reality at that time was I grew up on a chicken farm in a rural area, and you would have had to drive an hour to an hour and a half away to find any town in any direction that had more than 3,000 people in it. So let me tell you, I had a lot of want and a lot of need that wasn't fulfilled. And not only that, my parents were a different archetype for me. They were accumulators. So it was about the accumulation of money or stuff, or holding on to what you have. So the accumulator archetype has a lot of scarcity in it, in its shadow side, right? And that wasn't me. My natural wiring was expansion. I wanted all the things. My natural self would have been an extrovert, but my parents were extremely introverted, so squashed that aspect. So I had to work through all of that stuff and do some emotional transformation work, because how we are often gets squashed in childhood, somewhere in our experience through school or friends or family or our community. But those desires are part of your natural wiring. It's who you are. And the closer you can get to that natural wiring is going to make you the happiest. And this is why I love personality profiles, because when you take enough of them, they begin to layer on top of each other and you begin to see the patterns of how you were originally created or designed, and the potential reality for you if this community or conditioning had not stepped in and created fear or this programming that was contrary to your natural programming. So, what do we do about that? So, right now, there's probably someone thinking that question: how do I find out my natural programming? Somebody's probably screaming it at their phone or their computer at this very second. So, the way I'm going to ask you to do that is in a couple of different ways. You can start by taking some personality profiles and looking for the patterns that repeat. But the other one is getting into a little bit more of Abraham Hicks, Where your focus goes, your energy flows. And in Abraham Hicks's teachings, right? It is about beliefs shape your reality. And what is a belief? A belief is a thought you continue to think. And you think that thought for so long or so often, it becomes like programming to your subconscious. And then you begin to believe the story that you have now thought into creation or that externally you were programmed for. So, how do you get out of that? Is you begin to think different thoughts. It's simple, but it's not always easy. So, you actually have to catch yourself thinking a thought that feels bad to you, that is contrary to the reality that you want to create for yourself. Then you have to cut off that thought and replace it with multiple thoughts that do align with your reality. So that's step one. The next step is you want to really work on your sense of self love and self worth. Because if you, like me, were told you've got champagne taste on a beer budget or some sort of story similar to that, then you are actually shamed out of your own desires and wants. That someone else made you feel bad about a piece of you you knew deep inside was the correct piece for you. And no one else is an expert on your life. You are living it, you're the expert. But what has happened is someone has made you think you're not the expert. You should be doing something else. You'd get more acceptance or love if you did XYZ. So that is this viral programming that we want to unwind for you. And you do that through self love and self worth and this reinforcement of who I am naturally is valuable, is worthy, is lovable. And it's going to require for you to be the first person to step up and love you. Because to the extent you love yourself is to the extent you will train others how to treat you, how to love you. If you don't believe in your own value, then others may find it difficult to see it. So transformation begins with you. And it begins with that step one, change the thoughts, change the stories, change the beliefs, and then they do create different actions. And if you do that step two, where you are working on your self worth, your self love, the actions that you then take will become aligned with you, who you naturally are. So it's not rocket science. It's simple, but it's not always easy. And this is the era that we are moving into. It's the era of true self. I mean, you can see it with Pluto moving into Aquarius. You can see it if you're paying attention out in the entrepreneur, the business world. You are being shown that the way forward in this new modern age is the way of true you. So don't be afraid to embrace that. And if you need a little help in that, reach out because I do have that alchemist. And one of my natural strengths, if you are familiar with Clifton Strengths at all, my number one strength is connectivity, connection, connectedness, I think they call it. So one of my strengths is I am able to see pathways and possibilities and then show those pathways and possibilities to you to create a reality that you have found it difficult to step into. So that's what we can do together. And you can head over to my website, aprildarley.com, book a free discovery call, or if you're ready to get started, you can book some appointments with me. We do coaching one-to-one at this time, and I would love to see you as part of my community. Until next time, my friends, enjoy your life because you only get this one to live as you. Bye-bye, my friends.